And we want to make sure. Oh, no, it showed up in YouTube chat and it showed up in Twitch chat. The YouTube stream doesn't show yet. Oh, there it is. All right, welcome to Code Hangout number 228. We have the SudokuCon 2026 live stream coming up next weekend, and as part of that, I want to review some of the multiplayer stuff. There's the Twitch bot, but I'll look into that offline. I have a bit of a to-do list there. But I also want to review the multiplayer features, which I personally haven't spent too much effort on and too much time on. So I don't even know exactly what, where, and how, and what they are. So I'm gonna review where all this stuff lives. So, for example, does this live in SudokuPad? And I believe it should be. So if we're gonna look at the SudokuPad server here for a second, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit just to give myself a little bit of a scroll advantage here. So there should be... Oh, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna look at the dashboard files first. And I'm gonna have to find where they are. They might be in the core app. Clone view dashboard. Alright, so. And there's there should be some API calls in here. So, I guess we can go to this page. Clone view dashboard.html. Alright. And where does the code for this live? Right here. Alright, so this goes straight to admin. Alright. I'm gonna save this for now. I need to clean up this editor. Alright, so here are the admin calls, but that's not it. Clone view. So it doesn't live in here after all. Alright, we're gonna have to go a level deeper. Always dig deeper. So if we look at the debug proxy, it doesn't live here either. That's curious. So if I say host link, does this, and if I say this, it hits admin/clone view, but admin clone view doesn't appear to be one of our admin routes. I hope this didn't only exist as part of... I'm worried now that this was just like on beta or something and I never brought it into production. Hey Keith, how you doing? Okay, so we do have a puzzle server. Because it could also be a separate process that I need to start up separately. Puzzle server. No. Okay. Here we go. So that gets attached to the simple server. Oh, okay. Alright, I forgot how I did that. That's kind of clever. I don't know if it's good clever or bad clever. Or too clever for myself. Okay. So we have this. We have a host link here. And if I open a guest link and peek at the console here. So this guest should now... Okay, so they're not... Okay, I have a bunch of errors, so let's have a look at the errors first. Something timed out, okay. Let's have a look at the server process. Maybe it's pooping itself. Is this because this puzzle isn't it? One second. Okay, we got a few errors here. Also, we have a bunch of logging here, which is going to be a pain to debug. Let me just see if this is something I can disable easily. Yeah, I might have to clean this up first. I was debugging something. Gosh, no, I have no clue what. Implausible, you're not. Okay, plausible, yeah. And that's happening. Ooh. That's happening here. And here. Okay. And it's still hitting all of this garbage here. Proxy reg options. I don't know what I was doing here. Okay, so this is definitely the puzzle server in action. I'm okay. I'm doing all right. Okay, so something timed out. So, which one is the host view and which one is the guest view? Host name, yeah. So, okay, let's have a look. Something is timing out, so something isn't working quite right, presumably. So let's have a look at the stream tool and see where this timeout error comes from. 512. This is quite a bit of code. This is not nothing. Is this line 512? Problem is with promise timeouts, it's not a given that it's where the error happens is connected to with what the error is. So we have enable clone view, but I don't know what's timing out. So enable clone view, attach element. So enable clone view happens here. Huh, we didn't get... Did we not get a timeout here? Oh, hey, now it worked. Okay, so I have to be careful. This timeout could be a timing issue. All right, and if we do a second one, so now we have two hosts and two clients and one host. Right. And now, let's create a second host. So let's say, so let's have a quick thing here. So this would be one host. That one was red. Host A. Let's call this one host B, or just triple B. So that's host triple B, and now we have triple B here, and double A, host A here, and triple B here. So the host sees BB. I don't think I can get two mouse cursors on the Windows, can I? Windows 11, two mouse cursors. I don't think so. I'm gonna start up maybe my laptop and see if I can get a second mouse cursor to work here. Let me try this something here quickly. Oop. I'll try something. I'm gonna have to. It's gonna take a second because Parsec has a weird login system where it uses email for 2FA, which is. And it says approve new location. I've never logged in from a different location, so I don't know why you want me to approve a location when it's always the same location. Remember my locations, please. So, I don't see my laptop. Maybe I have to start it up on the laptop. Come on. I should have prepared. I should have prepared better. So. This is gonna get complicated very quickly. Oh, I'm not logged in here either. Oh, okay, one sec. I always gotta remind myself that you're not actually looking over my shoulder. Okay, I'm logged in on the laptop. I'm connecting. Hey, okay. So that's the laptop. It's a Mac. Now, I'm on localhost here, but obviously localhost isn't the only URL I can have. Let's just do this here for a sec. I'm gonna have to find out my IP address really quickly. And I believe if I go to this, uh, 178. No. Hello? Stupid encoding. This should work. Ah, maybe not HTTPS. Oh, and apparently Mac doesn't support numlock. I never quite understood the Windows to Mac keyboard translations. Okay, so this IP address doesn't work. Although it says that's my Ethernet. Do I have anything else? I'm connected to the 10 gig. No, that's not it. 192.168.1.178. 192.168.0.178. That should be a 1. Hey, alright. So, that means if I copy this and change this to 192.168.1.178, that should give us host access from here. And now, and what I really want to do is I want to have 2 mouse cursors showing simultaneously. Yeah, okay. So this is what I have currently working and in terms of multiplayer, right? So, and I can do this, and I can do this, and I can put a 1 in here. And if you look at what's going on the remote here, is that the status is synced. And now, if I connect another client, it should get up to date on the state. And if I do anything here, it will not affect the host. So I'm wondering if we, and in fact, the moment the host does something, the state gets resynced to the client. Now, this system was put together very quickly and very roughly. So for example, I think currently it transmits the whole puzzle state, which means for a long solve, eventually it'll start getting pretty bad. Let's see, did I play SudokuPad locally? I'm thinking of a large puzzle I played locally with a long replay. Actually, let's have a quick look at our local replay data. So if I look at, I think there's a function for that. I did something here. 1 second. So if I look at, let's start from the bottom. Our application storage is in here, and the replays start with progress. So if I look for things with the word progress in them, and I want to look in here. We find this. We find this. Get progress count. I have a get progress count helper function. But is there a get progress? No. Okay, but we can easily change this into a get progress function. Let's do this down here. So we have some syntax. Whoops, syntax highlighting. So I'm just gonna have a little closure here. Get progress. And what that does is it takes local storage, it filters that, checks, gets all the progress that match that. We'll just do res.push ls dot key local storage. So key is, we have our local storage. We have interface storage key index, get item, key name. Okay, so we need push. So result.push local storage.get item local storage.key blah 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 return res. And then here we can just say console.log this, and then if I execute that in here, up here, rs ls return res. So that should get us the array of all the progresses. Dot length. Boom. All right. And now we basically want to sort this by the size, right? So we'll take A, B, and we'll do well, I think they're strings, right? Like this should be an array of strings. Yeah. So we just say a.length minus b.length. I'm just gonna run this. If it's the wrong direction, we're just gonna sort it, and then we're gonna map it item to item dot length, and that should tell us, why is this in the middle? That's weird. It gets bigger, so we want to swap these. So we want it to get smaller, right? And that'll get us the biggest one at the front, right? And now instead of getting that, we'll just get the first item, right? And then the first item should give us a puzzle that's really big. And that should get us a short ID. Now, we should be able to change these. So let's have a quick look into the stream tool, because there's a way of cross-loading puzzles. So basically there's a way of sending a command to load a puzzle. And I don't recall what any of these are. So handle message select puzzle, for example, right? Handle selection. So select puzzle. Let's see where this is being used. Clone view select puzzle. So I believe if I go in here and go under settings and go under experimental. Let's close all of these for a sec here. And I might wanna have like some sort of pop out or whatever. All right. So clone view, select puzzle. If I do, oops, if I now grab this, is that good enough? Yes. And it loads a replay. That's what I needed. Oop, we don't need that. And now when we go to the other ones, so it should propagate. Now it propagated to this one. This one, maybe it is, yeah. So it is propagating, but because it's such a hard load, it took a long time. But that's gonna let us test now what happens, because I suspect if I do anything at all, it'll push a whole bunch of data through here. So let's get our remote computer here. And it even, okay, that's good. So this computer definitely didn't have anything here. But it did not update the fog. And these are the sorts of things I need to look into, right? So I'm gonna start a little list here. So stream tool issues. So remote loading via, what did we use? Select puzzle. Via select puzzle does not update fog state. So we probably just need some sort of refresh command or whatever. I wonder if I put something here. Yeah, so the moment I put a digit in, the whole thing will refresh. Now, I want to see, can I, where's the other one here? Can I see the network tab here? Yeah, because you see, right now, here, nothing is happening. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is basically frozen now. Yeah, in fact, I can't do anything with the tab. I wouldn't be surprised if... I don't know if moving the cursor transmits the whole state, but definitely something slow is happening, right? So... the problem is, I can't currently distinguish these. Let's close this one here for a sec. Let's just close this one, right? So we only have this one open, the client, the guest, sorry. And this one. Let's close this one as well. And it takes a long time to close even. Yeah. So moving the cursor does work. Okay, that's interesting. That's better than I anticipated. So if I move here, now it doesn't show us the activity on the socket, which is in here somewhere. Ah, no, here it is. Okay. I don't know why it's not auto-scrolling to the top. Can I Chrome, Dev Tools, WebSocket, auto-scroll? That's a bit annoying that the message, it doesn't scroll down. Does not have built auto-scroll feature especially for the WebSocket message in the network tab, while the console generally attempts to auto-scroll to the latest message. The behaviors can sometimes be interrupted if you scroll effect for WebSocket message on the network refresh. Can use DevTools on DevTools consoles. The DevTools on DevTools console. Open a new DevTools instance in the current DevTools window. That can be done by switching the DevTools stock site to a detached. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so these are the messages from the mouse movement. Now, I click in here. That selection did more than mouse movements. So that only transmits the actual action, which shouldn't be an expensive update here. Now, if I press a button here, it should just be a single action. And it shouldn't cause any issues performance-wise, right? Now, problem is I don't actually have a good way of measuring performance at the moment. I don't know if I don't even know if an FPS meter would help. Rendering. Because unfortunately this performance tab doesn't actually tell us anything. Interactions. Layout shift. Like, are there Chrome real-time performance metrics? Like, I don't know if there's a good way of knowing why the browser freezes up. CPU usage. Check various metrics. Okay, view real-time graphs. Open the performance monitor. So I've got performance open. Record, analyze interaction. Interact with variety, perform actions like scrolling, clicking, DevTools will record. All activities, stop recording. Yeah, I don't want to I don't want to record. We'll open the performance monitor to see live metrics. Where's the performance monitor? More tools. Performance monitor. Ah. Okay. So if I do this, document frames, layouts per second, style record. So if I do something like this, and I gotta do this here so I can see what's happening. So it doesn't work too bad. Now, do I not have large puzzle UI on? Okay. So now we can do this. Now we can maybe, okay, let's pop these out. Oop. Let's move these over here. Let's make sure they stay on screen. Oh, this is gonna be a bit of a squeeze. Okay. I'm gonna make this big. So I see performance stuttering. Now we have style recalcs per second, which went pretty high here, into 400. Which is concerning because we're only doing 60 FPS max, and this is not 60, this feels like 10, right? So as this, you see the CPU usage jumps to 40%, which is a problem on a fairly beefy computer. The heap size, 20 megabytes, not a huge problem. Layouts per second. Style recalcs per second. Why is that so high? You see, this is the thing I would like to reduce. Since I'm modifying... I don't think I'm modifying anything outside of an element, right? So if we look at elements here, and we look at... So game board. So if I do this, we're moving the board diff around. Because I was thinking maybe we're inside an SVG. So we are moving around this div element, which has the grid element in it, which has these elements in it. These, by the way, I don't think I've ever. I don't think I use these. I don't think the cells one. I think the only reason these still exist. Can we finish the project tonight? Ooh, I'm not sure that's are you Nimin? Because your username, your YouTube username is basically unintelligible. It's an ampersand, a Japanese character, and then some punctuation. I don't even know if I can get like to your user account from the chat interface on. Wait, maybe from the YouTube chat interface. Go to channel. Yeah. Okay. So at least I have a reference to you. But your channel is not actually very helpful either. It doesn't have any additional information about who you might be on Discord. So you gotta let me know who you are elsewhere if you want to carry on the conversation into another chat somewhere else. Now, we know we have... Okay, so large puzzle mode is a definite... It's not a direct necessity for multiplayer mode, but I think these large puzzles are one of the main use cases for multiplayer mode. So getting the large puzzle UI working better is also important. Now the style recalcs per second aren't an issue because there shouldn't be any recalcs. Like I'm moving something that's not really doing anything. Oh yeah, and what I was in the middle of. So I have divs for each of the cells, but I don't think I'm actually using them for anything. I think the interaction is calculated purely by maths, and like so I don't think I have event handlers on these, and all the visuals are done inside the SVG, so none of these change. I think the reason they still exist is because they provide the dynamic styling for the position of it. So if I remove them, I think the styling breaks, or the restyling. Like if I now resize this, it'll break. But I think they're not actually technically being used. Which means because I thought maybe deleting them would improve the performance, but I still see the same number of recalcs. So let's see, Chrome style recalcs per second performance. Like I don't know why it's doing those recalculations, because there shouldn't be any required, because it doesn't actually modify anything. So, and I think there's some flag I can put on it. An alternative to the post-jQuery version of investigation is a simple one-liner. On animation iteration. So if we go in here, and I'll go here, and I'll do this, and then I'll do this. No, I won't do anything. I don't know why I thought that would do something. Buffering page with built-in timeline recorder in Chrome. I've seen repeated. No obvious information to link them to DOM elements or events. On animation iteration. Yeah, there's no animations here. This sounds very old. 2012. Okay, let's ignore this for a sec. Reduce the number of elements being styled. There's only one element being styled, so having hundreds of recalculations when there's only one element being styled is a bit silly. Right now, when I drag, it's modifying this. I'm seeing this in here, calc 50%. So maybe the calc is the issue, maybe. Because I think the calc actually needs to do something funky to figure out the 50%. So let's try to get rid of that 50% and basically just set it to a specific number instead. And I'm just going to do that in a function instead of on drag. So I'm going to do another one here. So currently, and now we're looking at two different tools already. So we have the large puzzle UI, which is here. And the style update happens in one of these. Handle touch move. That's not a thing yet. Is this here? Okay, so this isn't what's happening. One sec. So, handle zoom in and out, handle wheel, handle pan. So I think handle pan... No, handle pan isn't what's happening either. It must be handle mouse move. Did this disable the large puzzle UI? Ooh. Okay, we're frozen. So I think this current freeze is the update for this the style from the remote host. So somewhere here. Now I think what it's doing. Sorry, I'm not finishing my sentences. I'm trying to remember how it resynchronizes the state so we know where we were at. I think what it actually does, it's caching everything that's happened and it's replaying everything that happened to this machine. And because it's, instead of doing one thing, it's doing a million things, it's really slow, right? So if I look at this here, no, it's doing a sync here. It's doing this one sync step. It's 137, so it's a big piece of data, but it doesn't take that long to load. So it's just bringing in a replay. Okay, so that's not actually that bad. Yeah. All right. So that just brought in a replay. Okay, that's that's a separate issue that has a performance penalty, right? Handle mouse move. Okay, so now we got our handle mouse move. So this is what's doing the panning right now. I'm gonna have to relook into all of this. I think this is maybe pending work for making it mobile capable and all that. So we're just running update transform here. Okay. So handle update transform. Here we go. And the handle update transform right now does this change. Okay. Now, the 50%. All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at if we take the 50% with a 0 offset. So just take this and then pull the number out of this and then add that to our number. Can we basically do the calculation that we need ourselves? Right. So BOLEL equals, it's getting assigned somewhere. So that's the board. Okay. So const BOEL equals boom. Right. Let's just output this for a sec. And not do any of that. I'm gonna move that into its own file, so I can just Control A to select all and paste. Let's do this here. Let's do this upper quadrant, lower right quadrant. Okay, so that's what's in the transform right now. Base scale. Where does the base scale come from? Base scale, zoom factor, zoom level. Okay, so we're gonna have to grab this element. So that's framework.features.large puzzle, right? And if I look at that for example, base scale, yeah. So we can pull those out of there. So we can actually pull these out of, out of this. Right. Then we can do zoom level, base scale. Is pan pause actually used here? No. And the scale is that. Oops. Just do that. I'm just trying to kind of get a feel for these numbers because I haven't touched and looked at this code or worked with this code for a long time. Oops. All right, so we get a 1.07, and that's because we're doing a to fixed point of 3. Okay. All right. All right. So, next step is to change the offsets to 0. And I'm gonna just prefix this like that. I'm gonna output this afterwards. I'm gonna change this to that. I'm gonna do this round this times 1000 divided by 1000. and I'm gonna output scale to fixed to see what it actually looks like here. And I'm not gonna do this just yet. So, yeah. So by doing this rounding, we don't need the to fixed. The to fixed. And we can get rid of that. And we're just gonna say let new transform equal this. I'm gonna do this as a two-step just so I can output it. So we're gonna output the new transform, and then at the end we're gonna do the actual full new result, and I think we can get rid of that. So if I do this, it's gonna move this, right? Because we took away the offset. If we look at, if we open this and open the performance, I'm at the bottom of my screen, so I'll keep pressing the wrong thing. If I do this, will that show us the recalcs jump? If I go here, do this, boom. Style recalcs per second. Because it's not actually moving it, right? So we'll have to do two things, right? So, first of all, we're going to do this async. Secondly, we're going to add our sleep function from utilities. Do we have access to sleep here? Yeah. So what we can do is we'll do this, put the let up here, get rid of the let. And then we're just gonna do this. We'll do a sleep of 0. I think that's our syntax for sleep, right? Because it takes a result, forwards it. Then we're gonna do this again, but this time we're gonna do plus 1 px, just so we get a recalculation. And then we do a sleep again. And then we'll do the plus 0 again. So we're gonna do, the first one shouldn't cause anything, but hopefully the other ones will. So if I now paste this code here, do we see a spike in recalculations? No. Huh. If we make it bigger. So I need to trigger that spike. If we wait long enough for us to notice something here. So we don't get a massive spike here. I'm just wondering, is the panning only an issue because it goes above our frame rate, right? 400, so that's like almost 10 per second. Now, what could happen is that this generates, let's say, 2 or 3 or 4 style recalcs, and if we do it every frame, it's, you know, it adds up. Except, okay, I'm gonna do this like 100 times in a loop, and I might even try it without the sleep first. So let's make a little function, const. We're gonna call it jiggle, and all it's gonna do and I'm gonna make it async, because later on we're gonna add the sleeps in there. But basically, what it's gonna do is it's gonna set it without offset, change it, and for now we're just gonna leave these out. So it's gonna set it with a 0 offset, increment the set offset, and then and let's actually also translate. We'll just do this, not async, x, y. And it's actually gonna do this whole thing. Boom, boom. In fact, our translate here, we're gonna say new transform. It's gonna set it to the string here, like that. It's gonna be plus, and we're gonna use our thing here. It's gonna do x, px, right? And then plus y, px, scale, just use our global scale. It's gonna do that. It's gonna set the transform, and it's gonna return it in case we wanna do something with that string afterwards, right? That's just our translate. So now our jiggle, what our jiggle will do is, it'll do a translate to 0, 0. So 0, 0. Then a translate to 10, 10, and back to 0, 0. That's what our jiggle will do without sleeps, right? And for now, we're gonna just hide all that. And now we're just gonna call jiggle, await jiggle. And if I do this, we should not notice anything, right? If I now say for let I here I smaller than 100, I plus plus, and now just gonna await the jiggle, right? If I do this, nothing. If I do 10,000, it should be instantaneous, right? Because we don't have any sleeps in here. All right. Now, sleep ms equals 0. Then here we'll just say this. We'll do it after that one only. And actually, we're not gonna do the initial one. So we're just gonna do this. And if I do this 10 times, it should be 100 milliseconds, right? So that should already get us a spike. If we do it 100 times with a sleep 0, and actually I'm gonna time that. Right? See how long it takes us to do that, because the 0 millisecond sleep doesn't actually take 0 milliseconds, right? We don't know how long it'll take. So you see, it takes on average 4.5 milliseconds, right? Now, I didn't pay attention. Did this up our thing? Yeah. So it does pop this up a little bit. And if we pump this to 1,000, let CNT equals 1,000. I'll do that. Less than CNT. And this becomes... Whoop. No. Do what I think, not what I'm typing. That's the vibe coding I want. Do what I think. Do what's correct. Don't do what I'm telling you to do. So it's still jiggling, and now it's done jiggling. So that takes 5 seconds to do this 1,000 times. So it's faster than the frame rate. That's interesting. And we have this block here. But I don't know if that block means... Yeah, you see, it brings it up to like 60 recalculations per second. Which, by the way, matches the frame rate, right? So I still understand why this is more frequent. Now, it could be that the mouse move hits more than 60 FPS. That would be bad and silly. So we have the handle mouse move here. Now, what I don't know is I can just count the mouse moves, right? Actually, instead of the mouse moves, let's just count the updates, right? this dot update count equals 0. Excuse me. And we want to do updates per second. We can just do by pinging it every second or whatever, right? So we can do this, and we can do this update count plus plus, right? And then, so if I do this and then reload this, now we gotta wait through this horrendous time of updates, which is basically, I think, when it's loading the replay. But that shouldn't be causing updates. It's so weird. I need to figure out why that actually triggers updates here. I don't know. Fetch puzzle 80 milliseconds. Loading replay. Yeah, we gotta put some timing in there. All right. But what I can do now is I can do another one of these. And now we can just do a set interval. We're gonna grab the update transform count timer. So we'll grab this. So we're just gonna say const large puzzle equals that. And then we'll just say let t0 equals date.now, cnt 0 equals large puzzle dot update count, and then set interval. We'll just say t1 equals let t1 equals blah blah blah, right? So we'll just create a second measurement point, cnt1 equals large puzzle update count. We'll output it every 500 milliseconds, right? And then we'll have dt equals t1 minus t0, and the delta count equals cnt1 minus cnt0, and then t0 equals t1, cnt0 equals cnt1, and now we can say blah blah blah. Our counts per interval of time equals whatever, right? We can say our dc divided by dt. Now dt is in milliseconds, so we multiply this by 1,000, right? And that's our counts per sec, right? So if I do this, and we don't want to update this too often. It's going to be annoying otherwise. So if I do this, and then I jiggle this, right? So in this second, we have around 20 updates per second, right? So that gets us 1,000 recogs per second. Sorry, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Now this makes sense for the frame rate at which we're checking the mouse updates. So 15 per second or whatever makes perfect sense. Let me output the raw numbers as well. We want to have the delta time and the delta count. Now, because I didn't refresh this, it'll be, yeah. So we have the delta time is going bigger. That doesn't make sense. Because I got this wrong. All right, fair enough. We're gonna have to do something like window dot update interval id equals blah blah blah, and we're gonna do a clear interval so if I do this, which I can't execute right now because the entire browser window is frozen, and we're seeing it here. The dumb nodes are going up. So this is the other problem, right? Inserting into the DOM is happening incrementally instead of all at once. And it went up to like 70 or 80,000 and then dropped to half, which is also interesting. So there's DOM nodes being created that afterwards don't need to exist. I don't remember pasting the code. Oh yeah, I pasted it up there. All right. So if I squiggle wiggle it now, what do we see? We see. So the parsing is another issue because that's currently on beta. I haven't finished the integration there yet. But if I look at here, so the delta count is about this. So this is right. This is about 1,000 milliseconds, right? And that would get us about 63 counts per second. Yeah, and that's 186. So for example, how do we get 186 updates? So the only way this can happen is because they're getting queued. Because I don't think I can run update more often than the frame rate. But I'm clearly doing it. Yeah, so you're seeing it goes like 360, it goes over 400. So it does seem like we're running the update faster than the frame rate. Which seems strange. Am I just maybe calling this in multiple places? Maybe. Like, we're moving the mouse, but maybe update transform gets called more than once? I almost want to simulate this. But then I'd have to put together an event, a fake event. But it might be worthwhile. Let's create a simulated event. Because maybe what we want to do is... It could be that we're calling update multiple times, which is already wrong. All right, so we want to do this. Dot large puzzle. Dot handle mouse move. And the event we're passing in is going to be a bit of a fancy object. So buttons will be 2. Prevent default will be a no op. Right. Stop propagation will be a no op. What else do we have? Event type. Mouse down. So type will be mouse down. Do we want to... Yeah, we want to do a mouse down and a mouse move. So we actually want to do 2 here. So, const mouse event. Well, it's already getting more complicated than I wanted it to be. So we're going to have a base event, base object here. Buttons should always be 2. Boom. Then here we'll just say object.assign, and then we'll do some extra biddies. Our mouse event, it's called base mouse event. And we're gonna do 2 of these. We're also gonna do this up here. Do that. We're gonna do that. Mouse down. And then we're gonna do a mouse move right after. Right. Now, the get event position function. Where is it? So if event touches, so I was trying to make it already work with touch, but you know, it's not. So it's gonna be, the thing is, if I do it, like I can just put 0, 0 in there, I think, because it'll just say, oh, Yeah, you're missing it. You're not moving anything. Position, last position. Actually, maybe I can. Maybe it only cares about the delta here. So what we can do here is we can say, where's that function? A little helper function here. So get event position, it looks at client X, client Y, right? So we can say client X 0, client Y 0, and then for the move, we're just gonna change them to 10. Right. What else is it looking for in this event thing? Update transform. Here we go. I have so little space. So, at the event, you look at the type, we're looking at the position. I don't think anything else. So if I execute this, what's gonna happen? Oh, I grabbed my little window here. No. 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 Just put it there. Gosh. That doesn't seem to do it. Maybe because they're getting executed too fast. If I do this. Okay, that doesn't seem to work. Do I maybe need mouse up as well? As far as I can tell here, has panned is false, has panned or delta is greater than minimum drag. Min drag is... Oh, min drag is... min drag is 5. Okay, we're definitely beyond min drag. Alright. So, I guess we're gonna have to restart that. And then if I do this, let's wait for the whole thing to load the replay. It's still getting spammed with the layouts, alright. Okay. Now if I do this, it doesn't seem to run it. What's different here? Buttons value should be 2. Buttons is 2. Client X, client Y. Boom. So we have a... One of these should be a mouse down. No, that's a mouse move. Mouse move. Mouse move. Mouse move. How are these all mouse moves? This was just mouse down, mouse up. Tried not to move it. They both show as mouse moves. That's a bit weird. Alright, we're gonna refresh that. Something is not adding up here. Mouse down, mouse move. Alright, let's see if we can test this more quickly with a smaller puzzle. It doesn't take so long to refresh. SCF. So if I do this and I just click and unclick, it's all mouse move. Why are these never mouse downs? What happens to the mouse? This is a mouse move handler. I'm pretty sure this is only assigned to... I'm an idiot. What the heck? Handle start pan capture. Okay, so mouse move never... Okay, yeah, this is not finished code. This does never run. So if I do this, right? Now do this. Handle start pan capture is where we're getting our initial position. Okay. So handle start pan capture only... Okay, handle start pan capture doesn't care about much. So we actually want to execute that first. So here we want to do a handle start pan capture. This doesn't actually care about mouse down because I'm assuming it has it's already assigned to just that event handler. Yeah, and then start would be assigned to the start event names, and that's whatever, right? Mouse start, touch, whatever. So we don't need to do that. We just pass in the base event here. And then we'll have handle stop pan capture. And stop pan capture just sets up all the variables and it doesn't really care about the event, if I can see that right here. So if I do this now, move mouse event, so well, that still doesn't work. That still doesn't work though. Do we ever get to delta? Well, now at least we can just refresh this and it won't take so long. So if I do this, delta is 0, 0. What? What? What's going on here? So, oh, Toby needs to take his pill. I'm gonna have to take a short 5-minute break soon to give him his pill. So, position 0, 0 delta thing. Client X, client Y. Didn't I change client X, client Y? Client X, client Y. Oh, because that's getting... Ugh, God damn it. Alright. We want to do this, this, that. I'm an idiot. Alright. So that moves it. Okay. Alright, we have a piece of code that moves or simulates the mouse movement. So, the next step now is, after cleaning all this up, to see how many updates that generates. Because I have a sneaking suspicion that update transform might happen more than once. So if I do this, and then I'll trigger exactly one mouse movement, we only get one update. God damn it. I always thought mouse movements can't trigger more than once per frame. In fact, in the past, I always thought it's slower than that. But this now looks as if it's faster. So, if we do this, and we'll do the same thing with move counts here. We'll do move counts plus plus, right? And then here, so let's call these UC1, UC1, UC0, UC0, UC1, UC0, delta UC, DUC, U counts per second, right? And now we want to do something similar. We're gonna reorganize this just a tiny bit. I'm gonna put that there. I'm gonna put that there. And now UC1. No. UC. So we have UC0, UC1. We have delta UC. Now, we have the update count, but now we'll do an MC as well. So we have an MC0, and that's the move count that we just created here. And then we have delta move count, move count, move count, and we'll have move count 0 equals move count 1, right? So we have everything we have for DC now for MC. Yep. And then we can I think we're trusting our calculation here. And now we can just do a delta move count DMC and just say move counts per second. Whoops. Now if I refresh that and I put that there. Okay. Now, our update counts match our move counts. Our move counts massively exceed our frame rate. So one of the easiest fixes. Now the thing is, I was gonna say, on a larger puzzle, it gets slowed down, except it doesn't. So probably one of the easiest fixes would be literally to just throttle the updates. So let's find out how the throttling works. We have a throttle function that I'm using in a couple of places. Right. So we have an update transform. And then we'll have, and in this case we'll probably do it the other way around, right? So we'll have we have an unthrottled, or we'll just call it raw update transform. And then we'll have update transform, which now becomes a throttled version of the raw update transform. And I'm gonna have to remind myself how that syntax works. So throttle function does what exactly? It takes a minimum delay in millisecond and a maximum delay in millisecond. So the maximum delay says, okay, don't wait longer than X milliseconds before executing this. And the minimum says, do not execute this faster than every X milliseconds, right? So our frame rate is, our maximum frame rate is 60, but we don't need to update that fast. But let's go with 16 milliseconds as the minimum. But if multiple happens, let's say, don't wait longer than 2 frames. So 32 milliseconds, right? So if I do this, so now our updates should be, they feel slower. So if I do this 60, I mean, this we shouldn't really do it by our throttle function. Yeah, so now this still feels like 60 FPS. And if we put in our little output thing here, and I'll run this, so our why are M counts low? Our M counts should be higher. Like earlier, our movement counts were higher. Let's unthrottle it again. Because basically what I want to do is I want to say, handle the mouse events as fast as you like. I don't care. Nope. Nope. So if I do this, we have update transforms here. If I do this, we've got update counts and movement and move counts matching because I didn't change this. Okay, I think I figured it out. So, One more refresh. So if I do this, the two numbers should match. But they should now be calculated from separate variables. All right. So now if we're throttling this. All right. So now our movement count is still high, but the update count doesn't go high. So now if we do this on the large puzzle, I'm going to refresh that. So this should now load with the throttled code. So this should work. We're not up to date yet. Jeez. It's really struggling. Okay. So now if I do this, it feels smooth. But these numbers aren't right. I think maybe I ran it too early. It wasn't finished initializing yet. What's going on? Framework dot features dot large puzzle dot update count. So if I move it, doesn't get incremented. What? Wait a second. And the update transform function here, this warning doesn't get thrown out. Are we looking at something cached? No, this is localhost. This should not be cached. What's going on? How? Oh, I'm an idiot. This DevTools isn't of this tab. I forgot that I need to redock my DevTools. Otherwise I'm gonna get hosed over and over and over, and I'm gonna look stupid. So now if I do this, okay. Now if I do this, and I do this. So we see the high movement counts, but the relatively low update counts. And if I zoom in, does this cause updates? It feels like it does. Because this is kind of stuttery, but not nearly as bad as I think it would have been prior. Okay, now what I don't know is if the delay during startup is related to this, because we get a huge number of style recalculations here. So I'm suspecting something similar is happening elsewhere. So one way of checking that would be by not loading the replay data or hijacking where the replay data loads. Now the replay data loading shouldn't cause redraws, obviously. That doesn't make any sense, right? Now it could still be slow, so it could still be, that's just how it is because it's doing so much stuff. So let's see replay. Puzzle replay stack. A load replay loading. Loading parcels reset puzzle. Replay length. Load puzzle. Serial standard initialize is load puzzle. Load puzzle is just the initial setup. Yeah. We need where load progress is getting loaded. Progress loaded, load replay. Here we go. And load replay is all the way down here. Um, let's just do this quickly. Let res equals, boom, turn res. This should be async, obviously. And it's probably treated as async elsewhere. So, where is load replay executed? Maybe it's not being executed in many places. I don't want to change it to async right now. It being defined as async, if it returns a promise, it won't make a damn difference. I can just say it's async because it already is. Load replay equals replay equals. So if I make this async, I can just say await res, return res, right? And then I can say console.time load replay, console time end. I think that'll work. So that's 3.7 seconds. And we're done before this happens? No. Yeah, no. Where does this code execute? Oh, wait. No, I'm an idiot. Okay, wait. All right. Oh, it happens twice. Ooh. Why? Why twice? Why does it happen twice? Oof. I think that means the first time... Could it be that the first time is just the empty replay and then the second time is the full replay? So res is just the promise. Wow. Now, the question is, do we get the performance issues during the replay loading, right? So if I do this, load replay. So right now we're in the, I mean, we're having these layouts here, even though nothing is visually updating on the screen, right? This is bizarre. Load replay, 2.7 seconds. Load replay, 11 seconds. There shouldn't be any rendering or updates. I'm just gonna look at this function now. So this is the function that's causing all the trouble. Now, I know it's an expensive function, but it shouldn't be that expensive. It shouldn't be causing visual updates. Now, it does manipulate the DOM. Can I do something like, how do I ignore many DOM updates and refresh all at once? Yeah, like how can I update many dumb things? Refills are already cute. Program. Yeah, but if it's async, then you can do is to make dump change, wait a few minutes, time and wait to dump. Yeah, and that's what might be happening. So the question is, am I waiting for things here? Don't give us any specific how you want to or change your timing of updates. No, it's the timing of things you mentioned 250 times per second. It's kind of fast. So it's viewable things. No, it's not. They're not user viewable. Like, I don't want the browser to update anything. Multiple solutions in DOM update. If I do a display none, so if we go here and we'll say we'll do the board hashtag board, nope, this one. So if I do this dot style, if I do this dot display, it's flex. All right, so if I say dot style dot display is equals none, and then after this I'll say flex. Let's say if that speeds it up. Could it be as simple as that? So the first one seemed much faster. The first one seemed now instantaneous, where before it was like 3 seconds. Right? No, it's still 3.7 seconds. No, but 1 second. Let's remove that and remove that. Well, that one should make a difference. Now, if I do this, did it just automatically reload? What the frick? How does it auto reload? Preserve log. What? How? Is this something I forgot about? Sorry guys, I'm a bit flabbergasted. So right now, pressing Ctrl S if my text editor does something to here. It doesn't reload all files. Unless I have some sort of filter that I'm not seeing. No. But it does reload the puzzle. Which means something is happening with the WebSocket. And I'm suspecting it's not intended. So I think what happens is the WebSocket connection gets dropped because we're saving the file, which reloads the server. And then the WebSocket automatically reconnects. So it doesn't actually reload the files, but it does reload the puzzle. Again, this is a bit of a sidetrack and distraction, but I need to relearn how all of this works. So I might as well dig into this. So somewhere here, we'll get a disconnect. So if I do this and do this, and then I actually do want to completely reload this for now. Right. Now if I Control S here, we get a disconnect, and then we get a connect. So, where does the connect come from? Like, the connect is a function call, right? It's not a, this is not a handler. Reconnect. Is this happening from the reconnect? I mean, it would make sense that it does come from the reconnect. Disconnect, if not force reconnect. So the reconnect causes a connect, and the connect causes the browser. Okay. So the question is, do I need to suppress that? Is that going to be a problem for this testing? Yes, I believe so. So we're gonna... The thing is, we do want to reconnect, but we don't want to reload the... We don't want to refresh the puzzle. I mean, we kind of do in production, right? But for the situation right now, we don't. So when the reconnect happens... So the reconnect fires, which gets us a connect, which gets us the new WebSocket connection that we saw here, which gets us the sync call, and then this should eventually handle a handle message sync, I'm guessing. So if I refresh this now, and now if I do clear that and do this, disconnect, reconnect, connect, change, parse, update, handle message sync. And then somehow it would be great if we could prevent the sync from loading in a replay that's already there. So it would be great if I could check if the replay matches what we have. Is host, yada yada, local state is better. Is host, message sequence. The problem is the sequence numbers. Oh, is that a problem? Because the sequence number is 0. And our local sequence number should be bigger than that, right? If not, this message sequence. If is host and message sequence is smaller than this sequence, local state is better. Message sequence is 0. It should be smaller than this sequence. Let's output these here. And I'm gonna have to clean up some of the other log spam because this is gonna get a bit painful. So I'm gonna try to shut down the one from the markdown parser, and I really need to sort that out so we can push that. So I'm not working on 3 things simultaneously. All right, if I refresh this now, what do we get? Message sequence, okay. Now if I do just a save here that forces the reconnect, or not. Are we gonna get a reconnect? Yeah. This sequence, message sequence 0, 0. So because I didn't do anything, they match. So then the question becomes, can we check somehow that the replay data is the same? So we have a sync. The message is a sync. It's got a replay. And the replay gets created by because now I'm trying to think, can I compare this replay data to something that I can just generate locally, right? So if I say frame work app.puzzle get replay app.get replay, no options. Is this in any way comparable to that? Replay. Comparable to what's in the message, which is this. Like, okay. Replay. Let local replay equals app.get get replay. So we can do this, and then do this, and then see, show all this raw data here. And then just output this. I mean, maybe we're lucky, maybe this is identical. I mean, it should be, but I don't know if there's something, there might be something timing related in there, which would have changed. So, we have a sync call, load, replay, yada, yada, yada. We're not done yet. Okay, we've got a bunch of stuff. Message replay here, false. Because why? Local replay is empty, sure. All right, now we've got a loaded replay. Now if I refresh or resync, we're getting an error because the message doesn't have a length in it. And the second time, here it's true. So we probably don't want to load the replay if the replay is identical. The problem is creating a replay takes quite a bit of time. So we probably, I was wondering if I actually want to do this in the app itself, and I was thinking like, well, if I do it here, that would mean every time we're calling load replay, we would create a replay. But how often do we actually call load replay? Probably only on app start and in the stream tool, right? So, load replay. So if I say console log replay equals get replay, and we say this dot get replay. The problem is we don't actually know what the opts are. But maybe they're supposed to be the same. I don't know if these options are related to the get replay options. I don't think so. Let's have a quick look at this then. Do we have any get replays with options actually passed in? Doesn't look like it, at least not obviously so. No states true. But then worst case scenario, it doesn't match and we'll do what we're already doing anyways and load the replay in. So let's just see what this gets us. Whoops. So maybe that'll change. It's a fundamental improvement because I do have a couple of double loads and stuff. So load replay equals blah blah blah. It's true. So if it's true, we probably don't want to do anything. Because puzzle ID, all of this stuff depends on this. Now this could be a massive breaking change, but for now this might be like, maybe this will go on a list of potential performance improvements for the large puzzle UI. Return console.warn skipping, excuse me, skipping load replay, comma, because replay equals get replay. So let's do this. Let's reload this. If it lets us. Gonna blow my nose for a sec. 1 second. Excuse me. So, did we see a skipping replay method call? No. Now, if I save this and it does that, it's skipping that, and that's a lot faster. Local replay, that is from the stream tool. Okay, so that answers that question. It's okay. Well, that error should go away now. But we still have some sort of delay here. All right, it doesn't explain that long pause. If I look at the performance monitor, so we do this, we'll get the blank puzzle. So that's the first replay done, the empty replay loading. Although we have the empty puzzle before that, so I don't know why that takes that long. Let's have a look. So that's all we're doing. We're taking looks, but in load replay here, we're outputting the replay, but we'll do replay action. Replay actions.length replay. So if I do this, right? That's the decoded replay. Because I'm trying to see if it's blank, if the first. So I'm suspecting we're first initializing the puzzle with an empty replay, and then once the replay data arrives, we're running a non-empty replay in there. So we're gonna clear this, and I'm gonna refresh now, and I'm gonna look what's happening here. So and these are still getting logged out from here somewhere, I'm guessing. 204. 204. Yeah, we don't need that. Great. Now I'm messing up my own measurements again. Can I get a clean reload? All right. So the first load replay is this. 3 seconds. We don't have the 11-second one now. And in fact, we only have one. So the second one is getting skipped. Now, why the second one would take so much longer? We had like one of 3 or 4 seconds and one of 11 seconds. That I don't know. But this is already saving us 10 seconds, right? Okay. Now the 3 seconds still. Well, we are replaying 17,000 actions, right? So that's several actions per millisecond, right? That's about 6 actions per millisecond. So it's much faster than frame rate. So if I do this now, if I refresh this, we still get a flash here. Why? .8 seconds. So we do get a load replay now. Even though, as far as I can tell, the replay should be identical. Shit. Okay. Okay, so const current equals blah, blah, blah. Boom. And else console.log replay diff currently replay. The question is, how are we gonna? Do I have to load these into a text editor and diff them? I don't know. Okay, well, yeah, that's when one is blank. Now, if I do this, why is the local replay empty here? It shouldn't be empty at that point. So that's weird, which means at the point that this load replay happens, We've reset it already? Is this because we're updating the puzzle ID? No, it should all be the same. This sequence is host blah blah blah. Let's output the result of the comparison here as well. So we're gonna say inside handle message sync message.replay equals blah blah blah, right? So message msg.replay, which I believe is what we're passing through here, and then we'll just do app.getReplay, and then we'll clear that, reload. We still have weird behavior. That's what I don't like. I don't like weird behavior. Okay, so if I do this, it's doing a slow load, which took our 3 seconds again, right? But we have a second one that we skipped, but the first one should have been skipped. Now, looking at them here, one obviously is the empty one. Replay diff. Oh wait, one is a string and one isn't. Huh? So replay diff. Current replay is the first one, which comes as a string. But here okay, so this is because the replay comes in as replay data. Let's make this a warning so we get a stack trace where this comes from. Let's reload. Wait, 2, 3, and boom. And cause the refresh. Wait, 2, 3, and boom. Now, this replay diff is from load puzzle, load progress. So it means because sometimes it is already parsed. Actually, because here we're doing the parsing. Shoot. So the question is, what's faster, decoding our get replay or encode? So get replay, get replay, I presume, doesn't encode. Replay encode this dot puzzle. But replay decode doesn't get us this dot puzzle. Right? That doesn't make any sense. I believe that replay encode and replay decode are not symmetric, which is always been a little bit of a embarrassment because they work on slightly different. So I think the encoder starts with a puzzle and generates a replay, while the decoder starts with replay data and generates decoded replay data. So I think we need to encode. Yeah, that's the thing. Decoded puzzle data cannot be encoded into encoded. Sorry, decoded replay data cannot be encoded because it's not a puzzle. Or maybe it can. What are we looking for here? We're looking for puzzle ID, type, actions. The replay stack will be empty here. So maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll work. So current replay will always be a string. So okay, type of replay equals string. If it's a string, we'll do replay.encode replay else replay. No, if it's a string, we use the replay. Otherwise, we're encoding it. Because current replay will always be a string. All right. Let's see if that'll do it. Oh, nope. I clicked something. Okay, so we loaded it once since we skipped it once. Now if I save it, we once again didn't skip it. If type of replay is a string, we use replay, else, okay. Current replay, new replay, equals blah, blah, blah. Right? Type of replay equals string. If it's of type string, use it. Otherwise, replay encode it. Boom. Current replay equals this. So we're going to change that. All right. Clear reload. Replay diff. Okay, yeah, well, we would expect that. So clear, force the resync. So the current replay at this point is empty. Now that's the problem because it shouldn't be. When did the replay become empty? That doesn't make any sense. So what I suspect is happening during this process, we're resetting the puzzle somehow. Message replay equals get replay false. Shall we just output them here? So if I just output what's inside get, what get replay returns here. So at the point of message syncing, is our local replay already broken? All right, so if I get replay right now, we get 137 kilobytes of replay data. Now, if I force a refresh, yeah, I'm an idiot, right? We just flashed through a brand new puzzle setup. So as part of the reconnection, before we get into processing the sync message, it's already losing the current puzzle. Now that could be by design, and it probably makes sense. And that's definitely something to be handled with more sophistication. So handle don't unload puzzle on disconnect. So basically when we're disconnected or when we're getting disconnected, we don't want to completely erase the puzzle. Now what I don't know for sure is if it's getting erased on disconnection or during the reconnection handling, right? So let's have a quick look at that. Where was that? We handled reconnection somewhere. Here we go. So during connection, I don't see it resetting the puzzle. I don't see it resetting during disconnection either, and I don't see it doing here. So it could be one of these handlers. Handle WS open, WS close, trigger. So the puzzle is getting completely reloaded or reset or something. Disconnect. So connect. True. This is a reconnect attempt, and then we're hitting the sync, and then here app.getReplay has a whole bunch of stuff in there, and then here it doesn't. Wait, why do we get a second handle message sync? And here... Wait a second, what's going on here? I feel like I didn't notice something here. We're getting 2 message syncs, and the first one is fine. And then we get a second one. The first one, we're syncing on this puzzle ID. And then the second one, we're syncing on... So it first syncs us on the slot, which basically unloads the puzzle. So I suspect this is a standard sync command the server sends, even though this is kind of sort of our initialization sync, even though we're about to send another sync a second afterwards. So if I look here, sync server, change puzzle, yeah. So it's sending a sync server and then the change puzzle from slot to blah blah blah. Handle message sync. And then we're sending the sync message. So we have a sent message. Sync client. So that's our command sync. So does this mean sync client is happening twice here? I feel like that's what's happening. Oh wait, no, I'm an idiot. Because we're not reconnecting the client, we're reconnecting the server. So the server starts up, has no puzzle data, tells the client this is the current puzzle because it doesn't know any better. And then the client, the other client, basically my laptop over here, says, no, you just lost your state. Okay, so this was, okay, now I'm starting to catch up. And I worked hard to make it work this way, actually, because the idea was that if the server gets disrupted, it can reload the state from the clients and you don't lose the puzzle progress. So if you have multiple clients connected, as long as any of the clients still have the puzzle progress, now why this client gets reset when the other one is connected, I'm not sure. Maybe because the other client has a higher sync count number. But basically it's saying, hey, server, you're behind. So here's the thing. And the server says, oh, wait, okay, let me tell all the clients what I've just discovered about my state. Okay. I'm trying to think. Is that something I need to fix right now? I mean, I definitely can improve it. The question is, basically we want to do a debounce, right? Because it takes a moment for the sync. So the server might want to say, okay, you just restarted, give it a moment. So we can either do it on the server or we can do it on the client and say, okay, you've got a sync command, but you've got a big puzzle state here. Let's give it a couple of seconds and see if we get another sync command. Because I think here, if we're looking at the handle message sync, we don't have timestamps. But like if they happen close after each other, we probably want to throttle them, right? So the first one shouldn't happen right away, except I don't know if the throttling it'll happen right away or if it'll get superseded by the second one, right? Let me have a quick look at the throttle method, because there's different kinds of throttling, debounce and so on, and I'm not sure if this does what I want it to do. But basically, if the function gets called, throttled function, right? If the minimum timeout hasn't expired yet, we're gonna wait for the minimum timeout. Handle function, handle function. We're clearing the minimum timeout. So I think throttling would actually work in this case. And that's the thing is, the sync command, to throttle the sync command is a bit dangerous. But the sync command also has the property that a subsequent sync command always overrides the previous sync command. So it is actually a prime target for being throttled as well. So if I do this, right? And then I'll do this. And I'll... Did I use throttle in here? Yeah. Yep. Alright. And then... Where's the sync? Sync. Where was the sync here? So, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And then we're gonna say, wait, I don't know, 100 milliseconds, but no more than 500. So if we do this, would it skip the first sync command? No. Did this run it more often now? Handle message sync. There's so many copies of this. Let's get rid of that. There is, I feel like there's a solution to this. So basically what this means is that whenever this function gets called, check if the function had been called in the last 200 milliseconds. If not, wait. If it doesn't get called again after 200 milliseconds executed, if it gets called again, reset that 200 milliseconds timer. Unless it's been more than 1000 milliseconds since the first call, then just call the function, right? So it should never take more than 1000, but it should always take at least 200 milliseconds. So I think, yeah, so now if I refresh this, it skips the first thing. The problem is, this is dependent on the latency. So it's something we might have to tune via a ping test to the server, right? And here I'm connected to my local machine, so the ping would be very low. And I don't know how long it will take, yeah. But for testing right now, let's roll with it just because it makes our lives a little easier. Now, what we haven't, we've hidden all this stuff because it's just not happening, right? But we haven't actually dealt with the performance issues themselves when they do happen. I mean, our startup time is gone like from 15 seconds to like 3 seconds for this puzzle. Now, the 3 seconds here, how does that compare? No, that's just, Oh, wait. No, we still have a second replay here. So why do we have 2 load replays? And the second one takes that much longer. All right, that's the real issue. So we still have the 2 load replays. Whoa, what the hell, man? All right, so app.load replay. So I still don't know where these actually come from. So first load replay is just startup stuff. Second load replay is from the message sync, which is the actual replay date. Okay, so the first load replay is with the blank replay No, it's not blank replay. That's what I don't understand, is that after this, like after the 3 seconds, I feel like, oh man. After the 3 seconds, we were looking at a gray, like the puzzle wasn't uncovered, and only after this one was the puzzle stayed up to date. Now it could be a rendering issue, that it just doesn't have enough time to actually render. So if I do an await sleep 1000 here, and we'll just say, okay, before you're updating the puzzle, wait 1 second. So we've waited the 1 second, now we're doing the 3 seconds, now we've waited 1 second, so it updated, and now I'm guessing it'll still have the 11 seconds for the second load replay. No, now it skipped it. Now we didn't have the 11-second one. What if we put the sleep after that? I have a suspicion that there's something asynchronously happening that doesn't get the puzzle up to date. No, we skipped it again. Where's the sync? We have one sync call here. Just this one. So we're not getting the 11 millisecond one this time. I'm wondering if it's maybe something weird, like my mouse hovering, generating desync between the state, and then we get the second state update. Like what happens if I clicked while it's loading? So if I clicked here, for example, would that cause a second sync? It shouldn't, but it could. Like, right, that update might be sent to the server right away while we're still loading the original puzzle. It might push through to the other host on the other machine, and then come back and resolve in a second. In fact, here it is. But this has fewer moves than this. What the heck? Okay, 1 second. This is bizarre. All right, let's do a few things here. That's the size in bytes of the string, though. All right, and if I make this 500 seconds, so. No, I'm trying to refresh. So I don't want anything in here. I want a brand new load. Alright, so what does it look like? We have this. They're not the same. The new replay is 137 kilobytes. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. We'll probably want to also output the current replay. And then they're true. Alright, so if I save this now, it's still true if we don't get a reload. Okay. Now if I do this, and here I click, so now that potentially changes the state remotely. No, but we got a skip here. reload again. If I select something, for example, and won't let me. And we still only have one load replay, and the second one is a skip. Now, if a resync happens, that created an 11-second delay. Okay, so that's weird. Why? No, wait, that was before the... No, now it's doing it again. But they're the same. The same length, at least. How they're different. How they're still different. There's something different, and it's not the things. We're gonna have to output the strings again. But let's do it only when they're not skip. I don't know what's going on here. They have the same length, and it's very unlikely that they would be different. But I think in the replay data, I thought I had a timestamp in here somewhere. But I'm not seeing it. So we have the 11 millisecond load replay here, and it says they're not the same. So let us create this, put that in here, create a new tab, grab this one, put that in here, and now I think I can just do this, shift that, and then say diff selected tabs. Now they're just one string, so this diff might not be great. It's not. Can I control, what am I pressing? Control Shift H. Is that pretty printing? H. Okay, let's do this again. Diff selected tabs. Where are they different? They both have the data line. But it's slightly different. Why is it different? Forget the frick. Didn't it show the size? Oh no, the sizes aren't quite the same. Okay, so they're obviously different in terms of the actions. And I'm assuming. Okay, we're gonna parse them. Let rep A equals current replay dot decode rep B equals new replay dot decode rep new, right? Then I can say something like actions and rep new dot actions, and to save myself some annoyance, I'm just gonna put the length in here as well. All right, reload. So, the current one has one extra action, and expanding a 17,000 element array is not looked upon very favorably by the console. We're only interested in the last one, so that's a deselect action, and we don't have that deselect action here. I mean, jeez. So the question is basically, is it worthwhile I mean, it clearly is for the stream tool, because this is a very common case. But basically, what I'm thinking is it worthwhile to look at the current replay data versus the replay we're trying to load, and then decide, and then basically intelligently only play actions that are different. So instead of starting from scratch, if the only difference is additional actions. Except the problem is that the new replay has fewer actions. Okay, because I was gonna say we could undo, like if we could do a diff on the actions, say, oh, if we have additional actions, just remove. But fundamentally, I have a different question suddenly. This loading the replay from scratch takes 4 seconds. Loading it with one action fewer takes 11 seconds. So what that tells me is that right now, that I think resetting the current action number takes 6 seconds? Like, that can't be it, right? Can we time this? So we have disable rendering. Unless we're not passing in speed -1. Are we not passing in speed -1 here? Why would we not do that? Why wouldn't that be default behavior? This is bizarre. So, next step, replay, stop, reset puzzle. Oops, that skip restart is not true. So we're definitely running reset puzzle here. Console.time. If I say replay play reset puzzle. I mean, maybe that takes a whole bunch of time, who knows? Next step calls itself recursively, right? Next step calls itself recursively. So we can also do this here. And as far as I know, next step is not async. Which is bizarre, because how does it do the rendering if this has a speed other than whatever? Handle replay done. Replay play. Next step. Next step. Trigger replay step. Do action. Resolve. If speed is equal to -1, play timeout. Oh, because it calls itself with a timeout, so it is async. All right. So let's reload that. Should be safe now. Let's reload again, because saving it can restart the stupid stat. So we've got the initial 3-second load, and then we got a skip. Now I'm gonna wait a little longer because I've been bitten by this in the back before. Now if I do, so if I reload now. Is it because we did the additional selection that we'll get that 10-second second load? Reset puzzle takes 100 milliseconds, which is already freaking long. So I think right now it's doing the 11-second replay low. Yeah. So next step is 10 seconds here. Next step was 3 seconds here. Why is it so much slower? But here we have speed -1. Okay, so it's not, the rendering should be disabled. But why is this 10 seconds? Let's if I make this async and then just say await sleep 1000, like if I just say, okay, wait a second before you start up the replay, is there something that needs to be sort of on? So I clicked here. No, here I want to click to like deselect or whatever. So that should cause the second replay to do something funky, right? Because it has a different number of actions there. Reset puzzles 110 milliseconds. Up here it was 0 milliseconds. And our next step, we just added 1000 milliseconds before we start the replay. I still don't know why these are slower. Because we're actually like, what I'm wondering is, after reset puzzle, are we truly reset? Because it could be that all the cells, instead of just, you know, entering the digit, they actually have to change their state from an existing state to another one, right? If I don't call next step at all, like if I do this, the problem is the first time it doesn't get loaded at all. Because I was gonna say, I can't select anything either. The other thing I don't know is, on this other browser, is it constantly reloading as well? Because I'm restarting the browser and all that. Let me just open the tools here as well. Where are the bloody tools? Edit view, developer tools. I am seeing an error here. Extension comes without it. Okay, I don't even know. So if I restart this, if I do this, because it could be a bit of a ping pong effect as well. It could be the other host resyncing. Let me clear. Let's do this again. Does that cause a bunch of stuff? Local state is better. So on the other computer, it says local state is better because the server starts at -1 and the local state on the other computer is 0, which is where it syncs the state to the server and then the server syncs it to here. And this causes the initial load. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't see, I can't check a second load when, So as far as I can tell, right, I still don't know. I don't know why the first load takes 3 seconds and the subsequent load takes that much longer. Because 3 seconds is not great, or 4 seconds. Yeah, well, 3 seconds is not great. But for a big puzzle like that, that's actually not horrible. It's just that 11 seconds is horrible. And it doesn't make sense that it would take 3 times as long when it's literally, well, it's not starting from the same thing. So what if I do a test and just say now, okay, load. So if we say framework.app dot puzzle dot replay play dot get replay. So just load the current replay with speed -1, right? And that should now take what, 11 seconds? 3 seconds? So the replay needs to be parsed. Replay, decode, okay. So if I do this, so we saw the digits disappear, but the fog didn't update because we're not doing that correctly. So that's the reset puzzle. Then we had the 1 second wait, and now we have 11 seconds of doing all of that. All right, so if I take the replay string, store it in a variable. So if I say window.temp1 equals that, right? So temp1 is now the string, and then we're gonna use temp1 as our replay. And before we're loading this in, I'm gonna reset the puzzle. So we have a blank puzzle. And now, does it take 3 seconds or 10 seconds? It takes 3 seconds. And I bet if I do it now, it'll take 11 seconds. No. And now with the fog cleared, is it a fog thing? Now it's 11 seconds. And if I do it now, it's 11 seconds. Wait, what? So if I restart it, and I do it now, it takes 4 seconds. But it doesn't update the fog. That's not right. Why is the fog not getting updated? Is it the fog itself that takes that long? Is it init fog? Framework dot features dot fog dot I don't know. Replay playing this render fog true. Render fog true. If I do this, it updates. Now before I did that, the replay thing here took 4 seconds. Now it's definitely taking longer than 4 seconds. So it takes 12 seconds. So this takes 12 seconds after render fog to true. Now, if I do an init fog, is that gonna reset the fog? Init fog. No, it's already initialized. If I do clear fog, and then I do the replay play, it's 12 seconds. Huh. I'm gonna output these as well, just to make sure they're not getting called a million times. SVG rendering bug in Chrome, force redraw. Maybe that's also getting called. Init fog and render fog. Alright, I'm gonna refresh you once more. Did I just see hundreds of render fog calls? Okay, because replay playing is true. So render fog gets called from handle act. So every time our handle act. So I almost wanna handle act. Handle act. I'm wondering if I should skip out earlier, but it's probably not the problem. Now it's hit that 12,000 millisecond delay here, which I'm curious why that would be happening right now when we didn't actually try to trigger the imbalance, right? It's doing it though. Why is it different suddenly? Like if I restart here and then reload. The problem is the restart might actually get pushed to the server. This is also like now that's not working at all, which I'm pretty sure previously that worked. Now it's working. Man, there's some weird interaction going on. But we didn't get that 11-second one right. I still don't know why it would take so much longer. So if I do this now and I click here, it should now do the 11-second one, right? And you see it pause, like it slows down even. But render fog comes through as false each time. Well, it's because the force is false, yes. But what does the replay playing flag say? False, true. Yeah, so replay playing means the fog shouldn't get rendered. Replay playing is true. It doesn't even get to that. So init fog doesn't get hit. It still takes 12 seconds though. Yeah, render fog gets called, but it doesn't do anything. So it shouldn't take time. Okay. So it's not the fog. Even though the fog somehow has some sort of influence on it. Let me quickly give Toby his meds because I feel bad now. Whoops. I think the browser tab just crashed. Gotta be careful now. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Alright, sorry, I just realized also it's getting kind of late. It's almost 9. Just because Greta isn't here doesn't mean I don't have evening things to take care of. The problem is I'm a bit frustrated because I feel like I haven't made any progress here. What I don't understand is why this takes so much longer. And we haven't kind of isolated it yet. And it shouldn't really be related to the stream tool either. So maybe I'm doing it a disservice. Alright, so we loaded... Where's the code where we loaded the specific puzzle in? I think it was this one, right? So if we go and just start here, right? So this was our 3.7 second load. So maybe we should do it here so when I'm saving things here, it doesn't automatically refresh this page. And we probably should close this tab for now. I don't know. So, let us store the replay in TMP1. Right. And now if we load TMP1, what's the timing information we're getting? So this is a slow load now. All right, so what I want to do is I want to reset the puzzle. I need a different local storage. So I want to do this now. So this is our blank state that we can use to compare. Right. And we'll just say framework TMP2 equals that. And we'll do that in the other window where oh, I keep thinking that they're crashing, but I still have them as a pop out. So let's put them in here. So let's store that in TMP2. So now let's load TMP2 and see what the timing information is like for loading an empty replay. So that's the 1 second we're expecting. Now, after we've loaded an empty replay, if we now load the full replay again, is it now slow or fast? It's slow. That's so weird. But then why is the initial load faster? Like there's something in the environment that remembers some things, right? And I can see that, you know, because the fog isn't getting updated correctly, so maybe it's related to the fog. So if I do render fog true, for example, is it just fundamentally anything after the first replay is just bonked? So if I now load TMP1 from something that looks like an initial blank state, what does it look like now? So it's a 4 second, but the fog doesn't get rendered, which is still so weird. And it's mostly because, okay, so we know that the fog doesn't render when the flag for replay playing is true. And the flag for replay playing stays true until we hit the final step, which is here under replay done, right? So it triggers a replay done. Does it trigger a replay start? I don't see it. Because it would obviously be easier to just disable that on replay start and re-enable it on replay done. But we basically want to render fog on every replay done. But what I still understand is why it renders it correctly on initial load, because you'd think we have the same circumstances. So it's true, false, true, false, true, false. Let's get rid of init fog. We don't need that. Or we can get rid of the update transform for now. That's the large puzzle. So we have a lot of red herrings here. Or we don't need that. Update transform is higher up. Don't need that. It's just spam. Spam, 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 spam. Everything's spam. So if I reload this again. Got a force redraw, render fog, true, false, render fog, true, false, true, false. So somewhere here, even though, as far as I can tell, render fog, force is true, replay playing is false. Ah, wait a second, what? Replay playing is false each time. So it doesn't get triggered at all in this case right now. Handle update fog. Loaded, progress loaded, handle update fog. Now, render fog gets called from attach. Here, handle act. You'd think handle act still happens during the initial load, right? No. Ah, no, there it is. Alright, so what are the types that are coming in here? Group select, deselect candidates, yada yada yada. Clear, value, select, unpause. One second, let's just simplify this a little bit. Because I moved the render fog in here, so render fog still gets hit. Oh, okay, so of course it's always going to be this. Because I moved that one in here. Okay, that makes sense. Don't need that kind of spam. Now, what is the difference though? So if I do this, all right, we have these two. And now I'm gonna run replay TMP1. Let's refresh first because I don't actually want the handle act spam in there. So I'm just gonna reload replay 1. And it's the same behavior regarding render fog. But it doesn't have render fogs before and after. And I think those are just related to initial handle update fog. Render fog, handle update fog. Okay, handle init, sure. Handle detach, attach. Handle update fog. Start loaded, progress loaded. Oh, because we're not executing progress loaded. So we probably want to do this on... So, you know, there'll be some sort of... so on replay done, we want to do that as well. There'll be some improvements, right? So we should do puzzle on replay done here. Don't need the app here. Don't know why that's there. Oop. Start, loaded. Don't know why we're doing render fog here. Does it make sense to do that here? Alright, so reload. Grab these two. Alright, now, so this was the 4-second load, which includes that second I added, which you can probably get rid of. So now let's see if, yeah, and we need to make this a bit async and give the rendering thread some time to update the UI. So that now updates that because render fog gets triggered by the replay done. Okay. It might mean that fog gets rendered twice in the case of progress loaded, of the initial load. Because we'll have a render fog from progress loaded and another one here. But there's a whole bunch of other ones anyway, so... not a big deal. Now, we're still at freaking 11 seconds here. So, how else can I test this? Alright, so I'm thinking like, okay, what if I synthesize a replay with like 1/10 of the replay data, right? So, if I do this and I decode it, and then just slice the action count in half, is that viable? Potentially. So if I just do this, and I pass this into a function, I'm just going to say r equals, right? And with this function, I'm going to do r.actions.length equals 5000, turn r, right? We're executing that, and we'll call that window temp 3, and that's replay.encode, like that, temp 3, right? And that's based on temp 1 actually, like that. Boom. And now, if we load temp 3, what does our time look like? Is it like more than 4 seconds? It should be a much smaller replay. It's 4 seconds. It's basically as long as the original one. If we make it 500, that's 1/10 the size. Now, if we load that, is it half, or is it 1/10? Is it 400 milliseconds? Wait. Let's see. So that's now 1 second for 500 actions. I'm trying to think, how can I recreate the blank puzzle state? Can I just do a load puzzle? If I do something like framework.app.load puzzle SCF. No. Find load puzzle. Puzzle, fetch puzzle, puzzle ID, parse puzzle data, dot parse puzzle data CF. So we kind of want to do this, and then we're gonna do framework.app.load puzzle. Is that all we need? Puzzle ID, fetch puzzle, CC puzzle, load CC puzzle. So if I do this, that should load a blank puzzle. Okay. It still takes 1.3 seconds. So it is related to... Did I not remove the delay? I thought I removed the delay. No, I did not. Okay. Did I overwrite the state of the puzzle? I might have. I might have. No, I need that. No, it's reloading it now. But is it reloading it from the overwritten state? The reason I'm using this is because it had a large puzzle state. Okay. So now if I refresh this, is it loading a bigger puzzle state? No. Shoot. If I do this, boom, can I do this? Copy. And can I just stick this somewhere? And then here, can I do framework.app.load replay, boom. Does that work? Where is my replay? It says 1.6 milliseconds for next step. The response is super slow. Where's the rest of the puzzle data? What the heck? What the heck is going on? All right, I'm missing something here. Maybe the difference between load replay and load progress? Because load progress, but that's on puzzle, god damn it. It loads the replay. Oh, because I didn't put speed equals. It's so slow I'm not noticing it, but I think it's actually running the replay right now. It's just too slow to notice. So I do this. 3, 4. So that's our 3-second replay. Okay, so that worked. I'm getting so deep in the weeds. I don't have a structure of how I'm not progressing in a strategic fashion here. So if I now load a blank puzzle, right, and now I load this puzzle again, which I believe I'll have to fetch. So if I do this, async, boom, 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 we'll do await puzzle loader dot fetch puzzle ID. That gets us our puzzle data. Then we'll parse it like that, right? And then we'll load it like that. And that should load this puzzle in quickly. It's resetting it. It's still spending 2 seconds on replay, even though why is the replay 11K? Why are there 11 actions that don't modify the puzzle? 11,000 actions. Where'd they come from? Where? Okay. Now, if I load the full replay data, how long does that take? Somewhere between 3 seconds. And if I load it right now, on top of this puzzle, a lot longer than 3 seconds. Okay, so that tells me that restart puzzle, or whatever is resetting the puzzle, is not setting it properly. Now the question is, Wait, what? Wait. Ah, yeah, okay. So if I restart the puzzle, we get to here. And if I load the full replay into this existing puzzle, is it fast or slow? 3 seconds. So that's fast. If I load it into the puzzle with the puzzle already in there, it's 12 seconds, right? Is that consistent? Like if I do it a second time, will that happen again? Oh my god, what's going on here? Oh, okay, wait, so I don't know what I'm doing. So if I reset, that's relatively fast. If I reload, we're not waiting for anything, right? So if I put a digit up here, and if I now reload, I have that digit up here, although the fog didn't clear correctly. Didn't the fog clear when I put the 1 there? No, it didn't. Okay. So that's a fast replay load, 4 milliseconds. Now, on top of this small replay, if I load the big replay, it takes... crash. Oh dear. Alright, on the small replay, if I load the big replay, it takes 3 seconds. Now, on top of the big replay, loading the big replay takes forever and ever and ever. And on top of loading the medium replay, if I do that here, not replay play, if I do a load replay on that, oops. So if I load the empty state, oh wait, no, it didn't take any time. Oh, damn it. Okay. If I load the empty state, 132 milliseconds. And if I load the big state again, on top of this empty state, we get 3 milliseconds. So if I do this, and then I load this, it's 3 seconds. Now if I change it by adding some selections here, and now load this, is it 3 seconds or 12 seconds? It is more than 3 seconds. It's 10 seconds. All right. So if I'm gonna be cheeky now, and I do a small replay and a big replay one after the other, right? So I click a thing just to change the replay data a little bit, so it doesn't skip the replay load. And we load 2 replays, a small one and a big one, and we're already done. All right. A, what the hell? B, we know we can fix the long replay by loading an empty replay. And C, we shouldn't need to, right? So whatever the intermediate loading of an empty replay does, we just need to do that before loading any replay, because it basically doesn't take any time. But I can't even imagine what the hell is going on by loading the big replay Because we are, as far as I know, we are resetting the puzzle completely right at the start. So if I go to replay play, right at the start of this, we're resetting the puzzle. And that's this one here, right? So I don't, Because my theory was basically that starting from an empty puzzle, which doesn't have all these elements in it, manipulating the DOM was faster than, like, my code probably was trying to say, oh, this is a 7, now it becomes a 3. And that is slower than changing, just removing the 7 and then adding the 3, basically. But I still don't understand exactly how, the reset puzzle should get rid of everything. And B, since rendering is disabled, we shouldn't be updating the DOM at all. Let's have a quick look at this function. What exactly does it? Just disables cell rendering. That's all it does. It just sets a flag. All right, so I finally feel like I made a tiny little bit of progress. The fact that I can load an empty replay before a large replay, and it speeds up, or it gets rid of that weird extra frickin' 8-second delay. That means there's a way of fixing it for sure. And it means it's isolated to the load replay mechanism. So it's not related to the large puzzle UI, and it's not related to stream tools. But if we want to use the stream tool for large puzzles, which I believe might be one of the primary use cases for it, that's definitely something we need to fix. And it might fix some other fundamental flaws, because it shouldn't work like that, right? So the fact that it works like that means there's something borked that shouldn't be borked. Okay, well... All right, I think I'm going to end the stream here because it's past 9 o'clock. I haven't eaten, and Toby hasn't had his walk, and things are a little different this weekend. It's been a bit crazy. Next weekend there will be the SudokuCon live stream. I still want to have my stream, and I might continue working on this, or probably work on something that whatever comes up during the SudokuCon stream. And I know it'll be overlapping, but nobody watches my stream anyway, so it doesn't make a big difference. And next weekend you definitely should be watching their stream instead of mine. But it starts the day before. It's a full 24 hours. It starts Saturday next weekend. I have a 2-hour segment where Juggler is going to try to teach me how to set puzzles. Anyway, thanks for watching. It was a bit of a very techie episode, but I think sometimes it's also good to show you the deep holes I crawl into and out of from time to time, and why sometimes things that seem simple aren't as simple as they might seem. And this is kind of just one of those illustrative points where weird things interact in weird ways. You know, I thought there's something going on with fog, but it wasn't fog. There's definitely bugs in fog, though, that need fixing that are related to this. But interesting, a lot of these seemingly easy to trigger bugs don't really get triggered in the normal operation of things. So that's the other thing. Like, I try to build APIs, but the APIs aren't actually used as APIs. So often, you know, I don't really test them out as APIs. So functions that should just do a thing, like the replay loading, don't just do a thing because they depend on other things that are happening through the normal process of how these functions get called. So things are a bit different than they need to be sometimes. All right. Anyway, weird techie episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out, and I hope I'll see you guys on the SudokuCon live stream next Saturday.